Hey folks, welcome to Seawaywhiskywire. Tonight on the bar, we've got the Lagavulin 8-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. Stay tuned. Well, hey guys, thanks for coming back after the intro. I'm Tyler, and tonight on the bar, we've got the Lagavulin 8-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey, which is the entry-level expression from Lagavulin hailing from the Isle of Islay. But before we get into the overview, the specs, the nosing and the tasting of this particular expression from Lagavulin, if you got yourself something from Lagavulin, maybe you got yourself something from Islay, maybe you got yourself something that's heavily peated, you want to pour yourself a dram and drink along with me, please do so. I encourage it. It makes life a heck of a lot better for you guys on the other end, and I enjoy you guys drinking along with me, especially when it's peated Scotch, guys. So what can I tell you guys about this particular release from Lagavulin? Well, this one here is actually kind of an obscure expression in my opinion. You know, you've got the 16-year-old, which is a classic, very gentlemanly like, 43%, chill filtered, color added. This one here is a very, very obscure one and a bit different. So we'll get with the specs and start out with that. So right off the get-go, it comes in with an ABV spec of 48%, a far cry from the 43% of the 16-year-old. And going off that, and I've already got it poured here in my glass, I'm going to say, without too much confidence, that it is likely non-chill filtered and there's likely no color added. A lot of places I've seen different things said about it there. Being that it is a Diageo house product, we really don't know too much about it, and they don't mention it on the packaging. But, you know, given, and we'll get into the color and stuff in a minute here, but given the specs, given the color, given the texture and whatnot, I am going to go off the assumption that it is non-chill filtered and no color added. And this particular expression differs from the 16-year-old too. The 16-year-old is matured in bourbon, finished in sherry, or a combination of bourbon and sherry, pardon me. This is matured, I would say, almost predominantly or solely in ex-bourbon casks, and the color really tells that story there. But before we get into the whole overview of it, let's get into the presentation and just see what we're dealing with here. Classic bottle, classic look from Lagavulin. I'm a big fan of Lagavulin stuff. You've got the 8-year-old age stamp prominently displayed here on the packaging right here. There's some tasting notes and whatnot on there, but there is nothing really too egregious for like the whiskey nerd. I wish they'd do a little bit more work on that, add some stuff about the casking and not just on the flavor notes and profile. There's nothing about non-chill filtration and nothing about natural color. And you know, if it actually is Diageo, just tell us. Like, why do you have to make it such a secret? Just tell us. We want to know. And I don't really think it's going to hurt anybody to tell us, but that's just my opinion. I'm not in marketing. I don't work for Diageo, but if they're listening, guys, if it is, just tell us, please. Normally I would get on with the pour. This is a particular whiskey that I'm going to say right now, you want to let this whiskey acclimate and aerate and be poured well ahead. You know, a minute in the glass for every year in the cask is what Ralphie says. I've actually let this sit out for probably about 25, almost 30 minutes. And, you know, we're going to have a look at the color here, and the color is going to tell the story of why I believe this is actually non-chill filtered and no color added. So we'll go in close here. Just a very, very light, almost white wine style color to this. And, you know, that really tells me a couple of different things. Why would you put caramel coloring? If you're going to put caramel coloring in this, guys, it would be the color of bourbon. It would be a lot darker than this. It also tells me that if it is natural color, they're using probably more tired casks, which for entry-level expression is not, you know, not a faux pas, and it's a common practice. So that is what's really leading me to think that this is naturally colored. And at 48%, I bet it's not chill filtered too, but Diageo, prove me wrong, or somebody in the comments, prove me wrong, or let me know. Yeah. All right. Well, you know, just releasing the cap there. I've got a ton of aromas ripping around here in the bar. So does this live up to the hype? How does it stack up against the 16-year-old or other Lagavulin releases? Let's dive into the nose and let's find out, guys. On the nose. So right off the bat, nose, 48%, nothing singeing the nose hairs. I would like to say that. Never, it's nothing too offensive, no bitterness, nothing like that, no ethanol. But it is distinctively Lagavulin. This is Lagavulin peat, classic Lagavulin peat that you would find in any Lagavulin release, the 16, the Offerman editions, the Distiller's edition, whatever. It's distinctively Lagavulin peat, so that's, you know, that's good. You're getting, if that's all you're after, guys, you'll get that with this expression on the nose. Behind that, though, some very interesting stuff. You know, the normal bourbon characters in there. You got the honey, you got some vanillas, some grilled lemon, some grilled citrus, like lemon. If you took a lemon and put it on the barbecue and grilled it, I've got like almost like a pine tree or a balsam tree kind of sap kind of thing going on there. And then you get that briny, that sea spray, that seaweed. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Lagavulin peat, it's a campfire peat. It's not as heavy as like an Ardbeg. From a ppm level, I think this is somewhere around 35, maybe 38 ppm, under 40 for sure. Yeah, very nice nose indeed. All right, guys, mouth's starting to water already with this nose. Let's get into the taste of the Lagavulin 8-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey and see what it has to offer. So, Slàinte, to your health, and let's dive into it. Again, distinctively Lagavulin. That Lagavulin peat. Great mouthfeel, oily texture, not a syrupy liquid, but much more viscous than like the 16-year-old has to offer. I would say I would put it kind of on par or equal to the Offerman edition as far as texture and mouthfeel. Very nice indeed, very mouth coating. Again, you're getting that campfire Lagavulin peat there. You're getting that honey. I'm getting some black tea notes in there too. Very salty, that brine. There's syrupy lemon. That pine aspect is still kind of there, that resinous pine. Then there's a nice little bit of that leather, that old leather chair kind of thing going on there, leather book. And then what makes this really, I think, more fiery, more peppery, more young against the 16-year-old is this really nice touch of black pepper on the end there. There's nice black pepper spice, maybe cayenne pepper a little bit touch there, but just very, very nice, well-rounded. And it's nice and transitional, and it's got a pretty good finish to it here. And it's got a nice long flavor to it. But, before jumping into that, let's dive right into the finish, and I'll get into that right now. So we're going for one more sip. It'll be number 3. Beautiful legs on it, too. So finish-wise for the Lagavulin 8-year-old, I would say it is medium to long and very lingering finish. Very Lagavulin-esque. What you can expect from a Lagavulin, it's a heavily peated expression, and you're paying for that peat, and you're getting that, but you're also getting this smoky, coastal, and punchy note to it there. Much more punchier than the 16-year-old, and I've already said that once. I'm going to say it again. If you're a fan of the if you're a fan of the Lagavulin 16-year-old, this one might be a surprise to you. This is definitely more punchy. It hits above its weight class. It's got the higher ABV, and it lets you know that. It lets you know that it's a lot younger at half the age, but it is a great dram. And I love those peppery notes at the end there. I wish they would let us know if it is naturally presented. I think they would sell a lot more. It is geared more to the enthusiast, I feel, at that 48%. But being that it's ex-bourbon cask prominently or solely matured, it's a really great profile of the distillate. And that is what I think is at the core of this. It's a great preview of what casking can do in the future for these guys. And that's kind of what I think this is. So if you're looking to start off your journey on Lagavulin, I think the 16 is kind of where you should really try it first and see if you want to get into Lagavulin. But the 8 is definitely somewhere more down your journey, more for the enthusiast. It's not an overly complex whiskey, but it is definitely not for the beginner. Let's move into the value proposition now and see what we're up against in that category. So here in Ontario, this is fairly readily available, and I can pick this up at the LCBO all day long for $110. That's about $65 less than the 16-year-old. The question really is it better? I'm going to tell you right now, the 16 is a classic, and really, it cannot be imitated. This is definitely one that you need to spend time with if you want to get into the Lagavulin distillate more. I think if you're an enthusiast and you want to dive more into it, I think this is a good place to go. $109 for a single malt age statement Islay brand from a big house. I think it's a pretty good value in my opinion. but it's more for the enthusiast and not for the beginner. So I will say that, again, it's a great representation of Lagavulin's distillate. It kind of shows you where it's going to go from there. You know, the 16-year-old takes all that pepperiness and that bite away. You know, even the 11-year-old Offerman edition is at 46%, which is only 2% less than the Lagavulin 8. But again, it's still kind of tamed down a little bit. It's got that edge off. It's not as sharp. It's not as edgy. It's not as peppery. And I think this is kind of where they're going for that. It's an entry-level Islay. It's entry-level from Lagavulin. Has its place. And you know what? It's a great one for enthusiasts, or if you want to dive more into the Lagavulin distillate as a whole. So yeah, there you go, guys. There's my review of the Lagavulin 8-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you like what we're doing here at Seawaywhiskywire, you guys know that drill. Like and subscribe down below. And hey, don't forget to check me out on Instagram at Seawaywhiskywire for more content. And if you're still hanging around this long in the video, thank you guys very much for hanging out with me. Love coming down in the basement and having a nice dram of a great entry-level Islay here. Thanks to my buddy Jake for lending this to the channel so I could spend some time with it and review it. I see he's already spent quite a bit of time with it and let me do it too, so really appreciate that guys. Yeah, big fan of Lagavulin. I've already reviewed the 16-year-old and the 11-year-old Offerman Caribbean rum cask, and I really do like the Offerman editions, and hopefully I'll check the one that comes out this year. But yeah, great expression right here, and I'm going to finish up my dram and go get to editing, guys. So take care, all the best, and I'll see you around, guys. Bye for now.